You could probably just spin a wheel, it's going to land on a number, you're going to pick a fish and you're going to land that fish. So yeah, it's been absolutely epic down on the coast.
The fish are going off their head out of Durban. It has been absolutely amazing because every angler that I have spoken to has caught fish.
There you go, buddy. Hit now.
This is the Angler News SA podcast. I'm Vanessa Green.
Hey, welcome back, guys. Cancel your plans, ghost those group chats, and get ready to hit the coast because this weekend, it's the kind of fishing madness we've all been dreaming about. From Margate to Durban, it is absolute mayhem. Shad are everywhere. Not nibbling, not curious, but full on beast mode. They are crashing bait balls, smashing spoons, and detonating the surf like torpedoes. Brothers and sisters of the angle, you are not fishing. You are surviving an aquatic riot. If your reel isn't singing, you're already too late, right? If your rod isn't bending, your lure is probably being bullied off the hook. This isn't average fish. Guys, these are concrete fin psychopaths. This isn't any ordinary bite window, right? It's happening right now. It is an adrenaline-soaked brawl out there. So gear up, lock in, and let's make fishing history this weekend as we get into this week's KZN fishing reports with the finest reporters in KZN from Angler News South Africa. But before we do, guys, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Kingfisher.
The Kingfisher are the leading fishing tackle specialist. We stock gear for every facet of fishing, from carp to couta, marlin to trout. Basically, everything. We have stores across KZN, from Toti to Salt Rock, Durban to Pietermaritzburg. You can also find us online at kingfisher.co.za.
Thank you, the Kingfisher. So guys, just a heads up, there is something mammoth coming out of the Kingfisher that will be announced next week. Trust me, it is going to shake your world up. You're going to be so excited about this. Oh yeah. And you know what? You're going to be as excited as I was to do the show. This show, I couldn't wait to do it because this entire week I'm seeing catches coming out of the KZN coastline like you cannot believe. I couldn't wait for the weekend so we can go out and fish, and the weekend is here and it is poised to be absolutely epic. So let's get into it. Let's get into the reports and into this week's strike zones with Mike V and Brad Krobler.
How's it, guys? Yeah, all the action's still been down on the south coast. Garrick, kingies, a couple of sharks showing up, some big diamonds in the dark, things like that. The action has definitely mainly been on the south. The guys have been persevering with some other edibles. They've been traveling far south or far north, chasing some cob, bronze bream, lanterns, rock cods, all those things. The oak fishing, like really far south for them, have been doing very well. Guys up north have been mainly getting the cob. The Durban North beaches has been a mix of edibles, couple shad here and there, a couple grunters, couple stumpies, couple small cob, things like that, but not any vast bags of anything. In the mix has been the odd spinner and the odd grey shark. So hopefully it'll start picking up in the next month or so with the sandies coming back and all that stuff for the guys chasing the edibles. But yeah, at the moment, everything is about the edibles. It's been an absolutely epic winter for edible fishing. On the ski boat and paddle ski side, the guys have been getting quite a bit of snoek again. Some very nice ones have come out, some big ones. Few couta in the mix still, some giant couta there. Couple of sailies behind the sards and that. So if you're lucky enough to find a pocket of sards and pull around it, might find yourself with a sailie or two. Otherwise, oaks fishing on the bottom and getting their keelback, their doggers, a good couple of slingers, rock cod, that sort of thing. Durban Bay, lots of juvenile grunt, piles and piles of juvenile grunt. Odd king in the mix, odd little salmon, a couple snappers there, but it's mainly been a lot of juvenile grunter. Guys, have fun, enjoy the fishing. This is Mike V for ADSA News. Thank you very much.
Good day, guys. Pavlinsky Fishing Charters. It's a fishing report from the ski boat from the last week. Guys, this whole week has been really about a lot of the gamefish, particularly the snoek. They have been going off their heads off the Durban area, especially off close to the Blue Lagoon River mouth side. Definitely strip baits and deep diving small rapalas in that strike point available from the bass sections at the Kingfisher. On the bottom fishing side, keelback have definitely started to show themselves in numbers. So out in the deep in that 44 fathom area, there's quite a few keelback, some really good other bottom fish around, some good slinger soldiers and some muscle crackers coming out, but definitely things have improved winter conditions. So this is Brad for Angling South Africa, and guys, speak to you all next week.
Mike Mike and Brad, you absolute legends. What a start. What a brilliant start. The fish are going off their head. Those were the words that was used out of Durban, right? It has been absolutely amazing, a madness, incredible. I'm lost for words because every angler that I have spoken to has caught fish. It is really the season we've been dreaming of, right? So now let's move up to the North Coast, moving up to Bolito, Mshloti, and all those areas on the rock and surf side. There has been shad, there has been the scratching fish, and there has been some cob. Not many non-edibles, nothing reported on that. However, guys, on the offshore side, once again, it is couta, snoek, and tuna coming out virtually on a daily basis. So the offshore side on the North Coast is absolutely phenomenal, right? Now, on the Midlands, Jan does have some fish to report on, more so on some amazing tips if you are planning on fishing that Midlands area.
Hey there, guys. Once again, we find the country beset by an extensive frontal system. Now, while we don't see much of the weather effects up here in KZN, as most of it happens down south in the Western Cape, big rains down there, and of course up on high in Lesotho with the big snows that they've had recently, it's the unseen weather, quote unquote, that is apparently dictating the fishing. So forgive me while I bark on with my hobby horse and take it for another lap around the Midlands, while the barometric pressure jumps around like a scalded cat. So, enough said. Pretty sure that you get my drift here. So in other words, go and buy a barometer and see for yourself. Judging by the number of fishing returns received, the Stillwater Anglers of the Natal Fly Fishers Club are heeding the maximum of the charm of fishing is that it is the pursuit of what is elusive but attainable and a perpetual series of occasions for hope. And we're happy to report that the catch versus effort ratio seems to have improved somewhat over last week. And the average size of the catches have also gone up another notch, with a number of fish in the 17 to 21 inch or 45 to 53 centimeter bracket making it onto the returns. The returns also include a number of fish in the 15 to 17 inch, that is 38, 43 centimeter class, as well as one lunker in the 21 to 23 inch or 53 to 58 centimeter class. With a paucity of fish coming to hand, there hasn't been much info on what's working, with everybody keeping their flies very close to their chest. Water temperatures are now also well down into mid-single figures and usually an indicator for bright colors and small flies, corresponding to some positive mentions from anglers that have got fish fishing an egg nymph rig, and with another mention that orange flies are happening. Of interest also is a couple of the successful anglers mentioned low and slow as their successful technique, i.e. sink tip or full sink line, fish deep and on the bottom with a slow retrieve, just like the barometer. Midlands bass are still conspicuous by their absence of any fish caught, and parts of the water nearer the coast perhaps better suited for the bass anglers. Perhaps the bass have taken a winter vacation break and moved on down the hill. Guys, heed the maximum. Being out fishing is better than a day in the office, so get a line on the water. And do stop in the Kingfisher Maritzburg for the best in tackle advice. This is Jan Korabal reporting for Angler New South Africa and Kingfisher Peter Maritzburg.
Thank you, Jan, the king of metaphors. Jan, it has been tough up on the Midlands. I can't believe the fly guys are even holding their cards close to their chest. I thought that was just the bass guys, but you know what? I really believe exactly what you said. The bass boys are here on the coastline because that's where it is absolutely epic right now, right? So the freshwater is a little bit quiet. That's okay. That's 100% fine because it will get better. You know, that's the beauty of KZN. When the Midlands is quiet, the saltwater is cracking. When the saltwater is quiet, we always got fresh water. So it's a beautiful balance. There's always something to catch. Now, speaking about things to catch, let's move into the meat of it, the real grind of the KZN, where we have got rods bending, reels dripping, sweat dripping off our brow. The fish are going absolutely berserk. And Ray Thompson is going to kick it off with what's been going on the lower half of the South Coast.
We've had some excellent fishing up and down the South Coast, all the way through until Monday when this big groundswell came through, this winter swell. But starting on the far south, the last couple of days, there's been a lot of kingfish, those black-tip kingies, shad, and garrick in the Margate vicinity, as well as a lot of bronze beam that are starting to make their appearance. Middle South Coast, there's been quite a few garrick again, kingies, and the odd snook coming out. However, the top place to be has been definitely Warner's. That whole Ilovo, Sardine area has produced a lot of garrick, a lot of kingfish, and a lot of big grunter, guys. A lot of grunter.
Ray Thompson, you are amazing. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. That is music to my ears. Grunter, lots of grunter. Guys, you know, there is nothing like catching a grunter off the surf. We can catch a grunter in the harbor. Always fun. But a grunter off the surf, wow. That's going to be a beautiful fight. I met an angler last week. They caught a 7 kilo out of Durban. And with the way the reports are coming through, this is exactly where I'm going to be heading this weekend, down to that Warner Beach area. Ground bait for the grunter, surface bait for the shad. You know we are in the game. But someone that's even more than in the game, guys. As I was doing the reports this evening, I am still getting footage coming through of the insane action coming out of Margate Pier. The shad are crazy. And not just there, Uvongo Pier, that entire South Coast. It is going mad with fish, right? I mean, anglers are having the time of their lives. And Adam has put it perfectly in this report that is coming up right now.
Hey, Vinesh, hope you're doing well, my friend, and all the anglers and listeners out there have had an epic week. So things have still been absolute madness down on the South Coast in terms of fishing and fish being caught. We had some sards netted today in Port Shepstone in the Sandspit area. We've had guys get huge yellow belly rockcod off the ski boats. We've also had them landed on the shore with guys using shad traces out of all things. We've had catface rockcod around. We've had some decent yellowtail off the boats. We've also had yellowtail being caught and lost off the bricks. We've had spoons being popped off, leaders burnt off. We've had hooks straightened by the kingfish that are around Vinesh. It's absolute madness and chaos on the coast. And we've got loads of shark activity still down here. We had a sandbar shark, tongue twister there, being landed recently down by Ivan, down Port Edward Way. It's just been absolutely wild. We've had some decent mussel cracker off the boats. We've had mussel cracker and brusher off the rocks. Shad have been around again, from huge size shad to loads of live bait size and making size in between. There's been a few bream here or there as well popping up. So yeah, it seems like those fish are still in the shallows, still sneaking around in that clean water. We've had a few days of big swell and then a few days of beautiful clean seas. So yes, it's all happening. At this stage, Vinesh, you could probably just spin a wheel. You know, it's going to land on a number. You're going to pick a fish and you're going to land that fish, Vinesh. So yeah, it's been absolutely epic down on the coast. We can't complain. The only thing I would say, we haven't had so much sards really close and shore. However, we did, like I say earlier, have a net that was landed at Sands. In terms of the sards coming past, they are obviously way too far out for casting distance. We can try all we wish, but we know we're never going to hit them. But yes, there is loads of excitement down on the coast, and it seems like there are still more sardines on the way. But otherwise, guys, stay safe, tight lines, and let's see those catches.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Lyon with the most glorious report that we could have ever heard. I mean, that was exactly what we dream of. It is brilliant, perfect. He touched on absolutely everything we would have wanted over the sardine run. They've got sardines, they've got shad, they've got brusher, they've got everything that, to get us excited, to get us amped, to get us pumped. It is poised right there, right now. Guys, let me tell you the beauty of this report, right? This came through at least about just 30 minutes before we could hit record on the show. That's how fresh these reports are, right? So when Adam is telling you the fish are coming out now, you know this weekend, this Friday, start packing your bags and start heading down the South Coast, because that is where the fish are. It is absolute mayhem down there. I mean, you were sending me some photos, right? And you can see an angler, smiling with his fish, but behind him, there's at least about 3 or 4 other anglers with rods bending and fish coming out. That's the beauty of this winter period. This is exactly what we really wanted. So, you know where it is, you know the strike zones, you know the hotspots, you know what bait to use, you know the species that are coming out. So the only ones left on this week's show is get out there, get fishing, and until the next one.
This is the Angler News SA podcast. I'm Vanessa Green. Find more episodes at ecr.co.za under podcasts or your favorite podcast app. Let's fish for the future.